On December 22, 2009, 27-year-old Peter Fraser from Rustenburg, South Africa, was enjoying a holiday with his girlfriend and her family in the small coastal town of Ponta do Ouro, Mozambique. The beach was packed with tourists that afternoon. Around 150 swimmers and surfers were scattered across the bay, enjoying the calm water and warm weather. The atmosphere was relaxed and festive, the kind of peaceful beach day where nothing seems like it could go wrong. Peter entered the water with his girlfriend Nicolene and began swimming in the shallow surf close to shore. At the same time, beneath the surface, divers in the water noticed something unusual. A shark had appeared and was chasing a school of fish in the shallows. The divers quickly surfaced and tried to warn people nearby, but with so many swimmers in the water, the warning didn't spread fast enough. At around 4:30 in the afternoon, Peter caught a small wave toward the beach. As the white water rolled past him, he stood up in the shallow water and wiped the salt from his eyes. Suddenly, he felt something bump into the back of his leg. At first, he didn't think much of it. It could have been another swimmer or even his girlfriend playing around. But seconds later, he felt another hard impact. Then came a sharp bite to his right knee. The force knocked him off balance, and he dropped into the water. In the next instant, a shark lunged forward and clamped its jaws around his shoulder and torso. Its dorsal fin burst through the surface as it thrashed violently in the shallow water. Peter desperately pushed against the animal with his hands, trying to force it away. But as he did, the shark bit down on his hands, severely damaging the tendons. Miraculously, the shark suddenly released him and disappeared back into the surf. Peter scrambled to his feet and ran toward the beach while blood poured from his injuries. His girlfriend watched in horror as he stumbled out of the water covered in blood. People nearby quickly realized what had happened and rushed to help him. An off-duty paramedic who happened to be on the beach immediately stepped in and began treating his wounds. Peter was losing a large amount of blood, so he was rushed from the beach to a nearby hospital. A private helicopter was arranged to transport him toward the South African border for emergency treatment. Doctors performed hours of surgery to repair the damage. Amazingly, Peter survived the attack. Later, he said he never blamed the shark, understanding that humans were entering the animal's natural territory. In November 2015, 28-year-old surfer Alan Engelman paddled out into the water near Singer Island in Florida. Florida is known as the shark bite capital of the world, but even there, the chances of being attacked are still extremely small. That day, Alan was simply enjoying the ocean like he had many times before. He paddled about 30 yards from shore and waited on his surfboard for the next wave. Suddenly, without any warning, he felt a powerful jolt beneath him. The impact almost knocked him off his board. At the same moment, something clamped tightly around his left hand. When Alan looked down into the water, he saw the dark shape of a shark just beneath the surface. Its jaws were locked around his hand. Panic immediately set in. He feared the shark might pull him off the board and drag him underwater. Acting quickly, Alan twisted his body and grabbed the shark's pectoral fin with his other hand. The shark was later identified as a spinner shark, a species known for its speed and aggressive feeding behavior. Alan wrestled with the animal while trying to keep his balance on the surfboard. For several terrifying seconds, he struggled with the shark, feeling the crushing pressure of the bite around his hand. Then suddenly, the shark released him. Knowing the animal could attack again at any moment, Alan began paddling frantically toward the shore. Blood dripped from his injured hand into the water, as he raced for safety. Every second he expected another strike from below, but it never came. He reached the shallows and ran onto the beach before wrapping his injured hand and heading to the hospital. Doctors treated the deep wound and closed it with 15 stitches. Amazingly, Alan recovered quickly. But what happened next surprised many people. The very next day, he returned to the same beach with a fishing rod. After hours of waiting, he caught a shark that he believed was the same one that had bitten him. In Florida, catching certain species of sharks is legal if they meet size regulations. Alan kept the shark, saying it felt like he had taken revenge on the animal that attacked him. For most people, surviving one shark attack would be more than enough. But for Australian diver Greg Pickering, the nightmare happened twice. Greg had spent decades working as a professional diver in the waters of Western Australia. Since the 1970s, he had made his living collecting seafood from the ocean floor, including abalone, a highly valuable shellfish. After more than 30 years in the water, he had seen sharks many times and rarely considered them a serious threat. That changed in 2004 while he was spearfishing near Cervantes, Western Australia. While diving with friends several miles offshore, a bronze whaler's shark suddenly appeared and rushed toward them. One of Greg's friends fired a spear gun in an attempt to scare it away, but the sudden movement seemed to trigger the shark's aggression. The shark turned toward Greg and clamped its jaws around his lower leg. He felt the crushing pressure as its teeth sank deep into his flesh.
The 55-year-old abalone diver has come face-to-face with a shark before. This was Greg in 2004 after he was bitten on the leg by a bronze whaler.
It happened so quick, I didn't have time to even think. And it latched onto my leg and bit twice.
Greg tried to fight it off with his spear gun. The shark briefly released him, but seconds later, it came back and bit down again, this time crunching hard against his shin bone. Greg could actually feel the bone crack. Eventually, the shark let go and swam away.
55-year-old Greg Pickering suffered serious injuries when he was mauled by a great white. It's the second time the Esperant's father has been attacked by a shark.
Greg managed to reach the surface and was rushed to shore for medical treatment. Despite the severity of the attack, he survived. Most people would never return to the ocean after something like that. But nearly 10 years later, Greg was diving again while working for an abalone company near Esperance, Western Australia. During one dive, he descended about 15 meters to the seabed to collect shellfish. Without warning, a massive great white shark suddenly attacked. Greg later said he instantly knew what had hit him. The shark's jaws closed around his head before thrashing violently. Somehow it released his head, but then bit into his shoulder and upper body. The attack lasted only seconds, but it left Greg severely injured. Bleeding heavily, he managed to slowly swim back to the surface. His boat was about 20 meters away, and his crew quickly pulled him aboard.
It's the second time the Esperant's father has been attacked by a shark. It happened this morning at Poison Creek, 160 kilometres east of Esperance. Jessica van der Ende begins our coverage.
Bitten on the chest, arms and face, Greg Pickering was conscious but bleeding heavily when fellow divers dragged him from the water 160 kilometres east of Esperance.
They used gauze, towels, and even duct tape to apply pressure to the wounds while rushing him to shore. Greg was eventually airlifted to a major hospital, where surgeons performed extensive operations to repair the damage to his face, chest, and shoulder. Against incredible odds, Greg survived his second shark attack.